Elizabeth here. Okay, if you're more of a video person, you're feeling on the fence about book tile designer and thinking about joining tonight, I just wanted to talk real briefly, real casually about what the course is, what all the extras are, and give you a rundown. I have a little bit of notes I'm working with, but mainly just going to talk to you, and I'll try to keep this short. Okay, so first thing, book tile designer. What is it? What is taught in it? If you've listened to my podcast or seen me share about the course, you've heard me probably say this little spiel many times, but what I describe it as is it's a course and coaching program for designers to teach you how to build an in-demand business as a designer, specifically as a brand and website designer. But we also have people in the course who focus on things like calligraphy, wedding stationery, more general graphic design, illustration, things like that. And we also have people in the course who are actually not designers. So we have some photographers, we have a wedding florist, a copywriter or a few copywriters. So there's a variety, right? So if you're someone who's not a designer and you're like, hey, I do another kind of business that I think I could apply this to, you can totally join. That's what those people did. So we're not like, no, you can't come in if you're not a designer. But it is primarily designers. And when I look at like who in that scope of designers really benefits from it, the course is not specific to Showit, which is something I think sometimes people are like, wait, I would have thought it would be about Showit since I design on Showit, but it's not specific to that at all. And we have designers who rave about the course who are on everything from like Squarespace to WordPress, Kajabi, Wix, also Showit, all the different things. And then some people who don't do websites at all, but focus on branding. So what's taught in the course though? So it's 9 modules, which to explain what a module is, a module would be like a grouping of the lessons within the course. So there are 9 of those total. And then within the modules, there are different lessons that are typically around 10 to 20 minutes. I try to keep them shorter so that you can really consume the course and not get hung up on things. But the modules are the different sortings. You can see all those laid out on the sales page, but a few I'd draw attention to maybe. There's some stuff on niching and setting up your website. That's like an early one. There's 2 different modules on marketing. One that is more like big picture and high level ways to think about marketing and think strategically about marketing. And there's another one that's a bit more specific and focused on social media. Specifically, I'm talking about Instagram and Pinterest are like the main ones. I focus on there. The biggest module and the one that I would say people get the most excited about is the wow worthy client experience module. That one's like 13 lessons, so very large. Some of the videos are longer in that one as well. And I'm detailing how to run a client project start to finish. So that one picks up from the module prior, which is the discovery call module, another one people are pretty obsessed with. And so then it starts with like onboarding your client, doing the project, getting feedback from the client, getting things set up, client boundaries, offboarding the client, getting a testimonial. I mean, blogging about your work. I mean, so many different things are covered in that. And that's really extensive, a favorite module. There's also one on financial and legal stuff as a designer. You can watch me on client calls where I kind of look like this, only without a microphone, meeting with clients. And throughout it, I'm like interrupting and telling you like, hey, here's why I did this thing. So that's another favorite, but it's pretty extensive. There's 9 modules. Like I said, I only talked about a few of them. And then there's also a coaching call replay module. So you actually get access if you wanted to watch all the past coaching calls I've done. I counted, and I want to say there's like 20-ish hours of coaching calls within that one module. Some are mindset coaching calls with a certified life coach that's worked with us inside Book.Designer. And then some of them are with me. And we work really hard to like timestamp those really well. So you actually can look at as you watch it. Or actually, you don't have to watch the whole thing. What I was going to say is like underneath the video, you can see, okay, here's, we're at timestamp, 10 minutes. They talk about this question about starting a template shop and what you would do differently if you started yours again, literally a question I've gotten. And so it's like, you're like, oh, I want to know the answer to that. You can go to those timestamp minutes and watch or listen to the course. Another thing worth noting, there's a Kajabi app, and a lot of designers inside Book.Designer like to listen to the course on the go within the Kajabi app on their phone. And that's something I would totally recommend, is like one way to listen of doing it that way if you're feeling short on time, and then going back to some videos and sitting at your computer and just truly watching them. But you can also listen to the course, and you have the slides to reference. Most of the lessons have the slides as a PDF download, so you could get the visual that way and listen on the go. You can also speed me up. If you're like, this video is 10 minutes, but I'd rather be 8, and you're into like, you're used to listening to podcasts quick, you can do that. So anyway, that's it. That's kind of overview of the course, who it's for, what all's in it. It's pretty extensive. And I think that can overwhelm people sometimes of like, wait, is this too long? Do I have time to go through it? And one thing I would encourage you in that, if that's kind of how you're feeling, but even just now, as I was talking through, if you're like, oh yeah, I want to learn about discovery calls, or I really want to hear what you have to say about social media marketing, you can skip around in the course. So there is a module 0 that I didn't even talk about. That's like 2 videos. So you want to start there, watch those 2 videos. It's like maybe 10 minutes total. And then from there, I recommend skipping around in the course, which I know is not what a lot of course creators say to do, but this course works really well like that. I think of it as like an entire toolbox for running a successful design business. So you can take what you need. And sometimes if you get too hung up on like, I have to go in order, then you don't get the stuff you need when you need it. So like, if you're about to have a discovery call with a potential client you're really excited about, like go watch some of those videos. If you're working on your website, go watch some of those videos. If you're trying to make a contract for your next project, go get the contract template. Like you can skip around to what you need. Okay. A question I get a lot of the time is both, is it too advanced for me or is it too beginner for me? Literally get that on both ends. So I want to talk to both people. So if you are a beginner and you're feeling like, wait, is this too advanced for me? Maybe you've even seen some of the people in the course and you're like, oh my gosh, they're so much farther along than me, or that sounds like a lot for someone brand new. What I would say to you, first of all, there's been a ton of people who have bought this course, gone through it before they even started their design business. I've had college students go through it. Variety of different places, people who have like just had their first 1 or 2 clients. Anyway, you will be miles ahead of people taking this as a new designer than if you were to wait until you feel more advanced to like invest in something like this. So all the stuff that you would have to figure out without this course, you're not going to have to figure out because it's being taught to you. So you're not having to reinvent the wheel. You're not having to Google all the things, listen to all the random podcasts to figure out how to do all the things. You're being taught it right here. And so it'll really help you establish like the groundwork as you're starting your business from the beginning. Now, if you are like, Elizabeth, I've been in business as long as you have maybe, or longer than me, or you're like, I actually, really know a lot about all this already from your corporate background, whatever, that if that's your situation where you're wondering, is this too beginner? It's really not a beginner course. And even as I just said that to beginners, it's really not a beginner course. I often have students say that they appreciate that I don't hold back any of the stuff, like it's like very like free flowing, making it very advanced, even as it works for beginners. So there might be things in it where you're like, yeah, I don't need that. For example, module 1, if you're more advanced, might be one that you just completely skip, or you listen to while you're taking your kids like on a walking stroller. Like that might be more of how that one is, because that one is like of all the modules, that's the one that's the most beginner. But then for you as someone who's more advanced, like, oh my gosh, the client systems, client experience module will be huge for you. And as far as students who have been in the course, if you go to my sales page, you can literally watch some of their videos. But I've had people literally in all, like, who are already running really successful businesses join and have huge success from it. People who have been in business longer than me, people who may have worried it was too beginner, but then felt like it was very advanced, and teaching them things they didn't already know. Okay, what are the extras? I'm sorry, my phone just went off. What are the extras this week? So first thing, so I just talked about like, what all's in the course, but like what else do you get? So you get group coaching with me, and just to quickly explain what that is in a non like sales page written way. Basically once a month, we get on a Zoom call. I'm recording this right now on Zoom, and you'll see everyone's faces. You can have your camera on or off. I usually give some directions of how coaching works at the very beginning, but you'll write a question and put it in our chat. And then I go in the order that the questions come in. And then once it gets to your question, I'll read it out loud, and you'll unmute yourself and we'll chat back and forth. So if you were feeling like, I don't want to be unmuted, I don't want to like talk in front of everyone, you don't have to. Actually, I can just answer your question. But most people like to be unmuted and do some back and forth on your question. You'll also get feedback from other designers in the chat, which is really helpful as well, because sometimes they've got great answers that I don't have. And then as you're participating in the calls, you can also give feedback to other designers as they're asking questions. All calls are super timestamped, like I said. So if you missed the call, you can easily go back and just listen to the questions that only appeal to you. Additionally, we have a coaching call calendar. There's a whole page for coaching calls that you get access to. But the cool thing is you can subscribe to the calendar. So literally when you subscribe to it, whether you use Google Calendar, Apple Calendar, all the calls just automatically go on your calendar at the right time in your time zone. And then you just click the link to join at the right time. So pretty cool. And really handy for like not missing calls. I also do lots of call reminders as well. Next thing that's always included is the community. So we have a really amazing active Facebook community. It's my favorite Facebook group on the internet. I don't know about you, but I personally really like Facebook groups and other types of online communities like that, especially paid ones, because you can really ask the like bigger questions and know you're going to get a great response. Also with our Book.Designer group, it's not a place where your ideal clients are floating around, like maybe, you know, the Rising Tide Facebook group or some of those bigger groups where it's like a variety of different types of creatives. It's just other designers, and we're all working under the same context of having taken Book.Designer or currently going through it. So that's really helpful. I'm also fairly active in the group, so I try to come in there often and answer questions, but it's seriously very active. I mean, there's multiple posts a day from me posting questions and prompts for you guys, and from other people posting. So really great place. Favorite Facebook group for me personally. I go in there multiple times a day. Okay, other things, you get some templates. So you get a ClickUp project template. That's a newer thing I added. I'm always adding updates to the course, and you get lifetime access to the updates. But one thing you get is the ClickUp project template that wow-worthy client experience module. It goes along with that. So if you wanted to put your client into ClickUp with you to run your project, you can do that using this template, or maybe it's just you and you're still communicating with your client a different way, and it's helping you track the project start to finish. It's really amazing. You can learn more about it on the sales page. Next thing that I'm just one of the best additions I think I made to the course, there is an entire contract for brand and website design projects that I worked with an attorney to create. Her name is Kaylee, and her template shop, it's Contractista. If you want to look her up, she's really awesome. She's actually one of my template customers. I met her at a conference like 6 years ago. So we've known each other a long time. But I worked with her to come up with a contract that is for brand and website designers that's completely custom to Book.Designer. So you cannot buy it in her contract template shop. It's different than the brand and website design contract there. But even as you go to her template shop, you'll notice these contracts are expensive. They're all more than $250, if I'm remembering correctly. The one in Book.Designer, I think our contracts are all more like $350 anyway, but the contract you get, it's included in the course price. And actually when you buy the course, I'm paying her for you to have this contract we made. So it's included things, something you won't have to buy. That's often an expense that's going to come up in your design business if it has not already, to buy a contract template or work with an attorney to custom make one for you. Or you might just be like, you know, riding the waves of hoping things work out, and with the contract you wrote yourself or you found on Google, which is really not the best way to do things and can make you feel nervous that the project's not going well. So this will give you confidence that the contract you have is solid, and you can customize it yourself too. And Kaylee made a video for all of you of like how to do that. That's really awesome. And the last thing I'll talk about, I'm sorry it's longer than I said it was going to be. Hopefully it's helpful. You're still watching. Thanks for sticking with me. You're likely watching this on a Friday night. So, hey, that's awesome. Glad we're hanging out right now. Okay. So profit sheet is the last like template thing I want to talk about. It is a financial spreadsheet for helping you track money in and money out as a service-based business and predicting your income. Really cool. elizabethmccravey.com/profit-sheet. You can learn about it there. So that's really all the main deliverables, but there's even more like hidden things, hidden cool things throughout the course. It's one of my favorite things I've ever built. I feel really passionate about it. We've had over 160 students go through it at this point, which is really cool, especially considering the course hasn't been around that long. But the results designers are getting is really amazing. And I would add to just last thing, if you're someone who's enjoyed my podcast, which I know a lot of you guys watching this right now might be someone who's like, oh yeah, I've been listening to your podcast. for a few years and I get wins from these episodes. This is like taking it to the next level. This stuff I don't teach on my podcast. If you're wondering like, oh, is this just repeat podcast content? Definitely not. I actually like feel like when I was working on the course, I started being like, okay, I'm saving a lot of these ideas for this course. So it's completely different stuff than what's on my podcast, very custom to designers and design businesses. Okay, so that's it. So again, the course discount, all that is going away tonight. The course is always open though. So that's something I just want to point out real quick. If right now, as you're watching this, you're like, Elizabeth, I'm interested, but it doesn't feel like the right time. If it's not the right time, then don't join. The course is always going to be there. Just the discount is going away. The 18-month payment plan is also going to be going away. That's something I added just for this week after quite a few designers were asking like, hey, do you have anything longer than the 12-month plan? So that's going to go away after this week. As well as the $150 off and the design audit with me, which I forgot to talk about. That's the main, I don't know why I didn't already talk about that. That's the main bonus this week. So basically you get to fill out a form on ClickUp, because I love ClickUp, and you submit anything you want my eyes on. So it could be a client project you're working on, copy for your own website, maybe your pricing, maybe a freebie you've designed and written that you're hoping to grow your emails list with, and I'll record you a video looking at it and giving you feedback. So that is the bonus this week that only people who buy this week are getting. And the 18-month plan, which allows you to join for less than $110 a month. So if you're feeling like you want to join, but you're like the bigger price of it feels too much for you, but you do feel like you could swing within your business finances $110 a month, then I highly recommend that 18-month plan. So many people have signed up with it this week. I was actually shocked by how like popular that plan was. So that's something to consider. And another thing I just want to add is like a potential thing to consider if you're like, okay, the 18-month plan, it's not long enough for you maybe, or you just don't like the idea of it. I sent this in email on Thursday, but PayPal has a thing called PayPal credit, and also PayPal buy now, pay later. I didn't even realize it, but quite a few people who are in Book.Designer tell me, hey, I used that when I bought. So that allows you to pay in full to me, but then do a payment plan through PayPal that's interest-free. So it's not a higher price for doing the payment plan, and they have longer payment plan options. So if you want to check that out, what you would do is on the Thrivecart checkout for Book.Designer, select the pay in full plan, and then select PayPal instead of entering your credit card information. And then when it pops up with the PayPal window, if you have done the PayPal credit thing or you're in the buy now, pay later program, if you already have a PayPal account, you should see some options for that. I personally not gotten to see what it looks like on the other end. I've tried testing it, but then it's like, hey, you can't buy your own product through your own PayPal account. So anyway, I haven't gotten to see what it looks like, but that's my understanding based on what they told me it looked like. Anyway, it's longer than I thought it would be. Thanks for considering Book.Designer. I hope to see you inside, and feel free to email me with any questions you have. And thanks for watching and letting me tell you about the course. All right, hope to see you inside.